Welcome to a Friday Creature Guide live stream. Let's get into some fun animal news. Let's get started. Notes from Poland.com. Bear scaring police unit formed in Polish mountains. Oh, no, no, no. Well, what? No, please tell me this isn't what I think it is. I'm going to guess it has to do with the military. So let's take a look at what's been going on in Poland. Special police unit tasked with scaring away bears from populated areas is to be launched next week around Poland's southeastern Beskidzee Mountains, which are home to the country's largest population of brown bears. Poland does not have a large brown bear population. They have been slowly returning to the country. And at the moment, there's only about 200 brown bears in the whole interior. Pretty much they're all concentrated within the southern part of the country, coinciding with the populations in northern Slovakia, I believe part of the northern Czech Republic. And it's not hitting me. And also a little territory of the brown bears in this region are much more herbivorous than brown bear populations further north, but they do feed on a wide range of different species of rodents. The force made up of 6 officers. I'm guessing this has to do with a specific national park. Will be based in the town of Alesko and will operate over the summer season when the area is popular with hikers. Provincial police spokesman Piotr Watunik told the police press agency they will fire rubber bullets to scare away bears in the hope that the animals will begin to associate humans with pain and become reluctant to approach people and avoid human settlements in the future. Yeah, rubber bullets. There's going to come to a point where the bear is just not going to care, especially if it's an individual with a lot of fat on it, and it just knows that you're not going to kill it. The most recent bear sighting occurred in the area on Friday when an animal was spotted roaming through Senuk, a town of 37,000 near the mountains. So I'm guessing this is very likely adjacent to a certain national park that's just not hitting me. There's also wolves in the region. Poland has around 2,000 wolves within the country, and that population is increasing. It also has a very healthy roe deer population, about 800, actually not 800,000, over a million roe deer within the country. So let's take a look at what's occurring here. Oh, there he is. Oh, that seems like a younger individual, or he just got out of hibernation. He doesn't seem to have much weight on him, but at least from the distance, he seems relatively healthy. Brown bears within this part of the world don't usually reach much more than 550 pounds, 600 pounds, or a little over, um, let's see, 250 kilograms. So let's see. Anna Ulenhyaks, spokeswoman for Seneca Police Department, appealed to residents and tourists to allow the new unit to carry out its work. If members of the public encounter a bear, they should not attempt to scare the animal away themselves, but stay away from the creature and alert the police. Let's see. Anything else? The mountain resort town of Zakopane has installed new rubbish bins designed to prevent wild animals, including bears, from foraging for food in them. Well, I'm guessing also the invasive raccoons that now dominate Poland as well. So let's take a deeper look. Oh, wow. Is that a full blown concrete one? Well, that's definitely more bear proof than a lot of the ones in America. But problem is, you can't really move that. Anyway. Um, that's interesting. Yeah, what they do with the garbage bins for bears in America is that they send them to the Yellowstone Discovery Center over in Wyoming, unless it's on the Idaho side of the park. It's just before Yellowstone National Park, and they have the bears in the enclosure test them. Though I would think they're not going to be as strong as their wild counterparts, unless they have a larger subspecies of brown bear within the Yellowstone Discovery Center. So let's head over to the next article from KHQA.com. Rare mountain lion sighting in Pike County, Illinois, I'm guessing. Prompts caution, curiosity from residents. Yeah, mountain lions are not common in Illinois, but they have been showing their presence a lot more often in recent times. So let's take a deeper look. So Brent Jordan of Pike County, Illinois, was out looking for turkeys last week for turkey season when he saw what he could not believe on his trail camera. Nothing unusual to have 100, 200 pictures a day to go through. Randomly scrolled through to see what's on the camera. And then Thursday night, Friday morning, we got something a little different on the camera. Scrolling through and had to do a double take and back and forth. And we found our new friend. The new friend was a young male mountain lion walking feet from where Jordan had been just hours before the pictures were taken. I mean, that's not surprising. Um, in a lot of instances, when the cougars are taking a whiff of human scent, if they don't really hear any people within the area, they tend not to get spooked. Though there are certain other things reporting that cougars, at least in certain parts of the western states, are not intimidated at all by human presence. But at least it seems to be the case over in different parts of California where they're quite wary of people. But I think where I'm referring to is Idaho. Didn't think anything of it and got home and got coffee and was going through the camera and looking at the pictures, and I was right here where the cat had been. Since the sighting, the Department of Natural Resources has been studying the area of the sighting. Oh, you got them to come to the site real quick. That's actually a bit surprising. But anyway, let's keep going. Chris Jacques with the Illinois Department of Natural Resources said this is the this is only the 11th confirmed sighting of a mountain lion in the state since 2002. Wow. That is a small amount. I'm actually surprised that it's not more. There's bound to have been quite a few sightings that just weren't reported, and it was just these 11. But still, though, I mean, that was over 22 years ago. It is the most widely distributed non-human mammal on the earth. What? What? I think a rat with like a word. Certain species of mice. Um, yeah. Okay, anyway, he said these sightings are usually due to surrounding states being at maximum capacity, leading mountain lions to venture off and find their own territories. I'm guessing it's an individual coming in from different parts of, let's see, well, where Illinois is. So it's just adjacent to Lake Michigan. It's coming in from probably South Dakota, maybe even certain North Dakota populations, possibly Wyoming, Montana. It's a big guess. Let's see. Researching or reaching kind of a carrying capacity or a maximum capacity that their landscape can support of these animals. So what do? They kind of move out into neighboring states in search of a home range or a permanent home to call their own. There's not a lot of restored habitat within Illinois. The most wilderness areas are concentrated within the southern part of the state. And besides that, most of Illinois is simply crop fields, not including any of the urban areas. So, said they have multiple sightings of the mountain lion on different nights as well as elsewhere in Pike County. So it sounds like that this specific landowner wasn't the only person to report this. He said this is the first confirmed sighting on the property he manages. Take a deep look. It's unusual. We've never had one on this property, and Mr. Lindsay has owned it for about 15 years and had cameras on it the entire time. And it's the first confirmed sighting of mountain lion on the property. Becca said, on the off chance you see mountain lion, do not panic and run. Yeah, don't do that with any carnivore. But um, anyway, is there anything else? No, that's it. Okay. Well, it's good to hear that there's a mountain lion over in Illinois. I don't know specifically where this county is, but it's really good to hear. Hopefully, we hear other individuals coming into the state. So let's move forward. From IndiaToday.in, rare Indian gray wolf sighting reported along Yamuna floodplains in Delhi. The sighting was made by Hemant Garg, a 41-year-old businessman and wildlife enthusiast who frequently tracks nocturnal wildlife across Delhi, NCR. Oh, Delhi, NCR. Okay. Delhi.
Okay, that was funny.
I think Delhi is the state in which the city of Delhi. It's not saying New Delhi. I'm confused. Anyway, let's keep going. A lone Indian gray wolf. This is a very clean Indian gray wolf. They're usually ragged and dirty. Anyway, was recently spotted along the Yamuna floodplains near Pala, where the river enters Delhi in a rare wildlife sighting in the city's northern fringes. Talking about New Delhi? Now it's somewhat towards northern India, but it's concentrated right in the center. Last week on Thursday morning, the sighting was made by Hemant Garg. We already mentioned this. Garg said he noticed the animal around 7:45 a.m. walking along the riverbank with a distinct gait and having dark gray fur that didn't match typical dogs. Yeah, there are gray wolves within India, but they do not have the overall musculature and size that you see in much more northern populations of wolves, especially over in Europe, different parts of Russia, Mongolia, and then especially North America. They're quite skinny in many instances within India. It had a dull, dark gray coat and walked with a certain grace, unlike a stray dog. When I got closer and started taking photos, it quickly vanished into the tall grasses. Hmm. It definitely sounds like a more northern India sort of ecosystem that the wolf is located in. But the wolves in this area are probably not exceeding much more than 30 to 40 pounds. They're about the size of a large coyote.
How do they compare against other wolves from other parts of the world?
Oh, they're tiny. Like they're not much larger than African golden wolves within different parts of sub-Saharan Africa or different parts of the savannah, as well as even Ethiopian wolves. But Ethiopian wolves tend to have a much more elongated sort of physique. Photographs taken by Garg were soon shared with wildlife experts, several of whom noted striking similarities to the Indian gray wolf, species not officially recorded in Delhi for decades. Oh, I thought like they popped up now and then, but this is making out like they haven't been seen in a very long time. So this is good to hear. Wonder what attracted him to the region. Crash? Many experts have confirmed that the animal is an Indian gray wolf, though it is considered special since it was spotted in the landscape of Delhi, a rare occurrence. Let's see. Is there anything else? The dark color and tail curvature suggests the possibility of hybridization with feral dogs, but there hasn't been genetically tested. Okay, so let's see. He added that it is possible the wolf may have traveled from Uttar Pradesh or Rajasthan. I think these are other states along riverbanks. From the side profile, it certainly appears to be a wolf. The dog typically does not have such a jawline, strong chest, or gray black, dusky, dull coat. Given its location near the Yamuna, it might have followed the river corridor. Also, depending on the time of year, especially during the dry season, the wolf might have a much more rapid sort of look to it. Whereas in the wet season, as long as it wasn't rolling around the mud, it would look much more um, just a bit of a cleaner coat. Meanwhile, according to a 2014 publication by Forester G.N. Sina, there has been no confirmed sighting of a wolf in the capital since the 1940s, so over 90 years. No, um, well, 85. That's a long time. The Indian gray wolf is native to grasslands, yeah, quite a bit of India. I think that's it. Well, it's good to hear that in this region we've seen a wolf. Hopefully, pack will be along the outskirts. So let's head to the next article.
It is a little strange to see one wolf.
Yeah, it might be a male that's looking for a mate. Could even be a female that just left the pack. They're not wolves aren't necessarily pushed out of their packs. Unlike with what you see in lions, hyenas. Well, hyenas it tends to be the males, and it can be pretty similar when it comes to lions as well. They're occasionally females. But wolves, they can stay as long as they want. I mean, they just take care of the next generation of pups by their own parents. And then eventually, if they want to leave, they just head out. So, the next article by undark.org. Oh, just a little happy Wolverine. Let's see. Colorado plans to restore the Wolverine. Yeah, Colorado in recent years has been wanting to restore so many different species. Wolves, possibly lynx, and then Wolverine has definitely been a big talk. Technically, brown bears as well. Is it ethical to move the cold adapted species to a part of its native range that may not get enough snow in the future? Well, considering different parts of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado are still getting quite a bit of snow, you just have these up and downs when it comes to the years. Um, yeah, it would be a good idea to reintroduce it to this part of its historical range. The thing is that you need to put enough individuals that also have sufficient amount of genetic variety to continue that species. And in many cases, they just put in a couple of individuals. See, when Hugh Jackman, oh yeah, this story, agreed to play the mutant superhero Wolverine in the X-Men franchise, he didn't know that Wolverines were real. Yeah, I found this incredibly shocking when I found out about that. Like, seriously? I mean, let's keep going. He thought he was playing a wolf. Okay, I could see that if you didn't know what a Wolverine was, but sheesh. At a loss for how to mimic a wild canine. He watched a documentary on wolves to better understand how they moved and acted, arriving on set with a funny gait. He recalled the ridicule of his director, Brian Singer, in an interview with Page Six in 2017. He said, "You know, you're not a wolf, right? Go to the zoo, dude. I literally didn't know Wolverines existed."
That is such a funny story.
It's like it's embarrassing, but it's really funny too. Yeah. The famous actor isn't alone in this oversight. Wolverine biologist Rebecca Waters has gotten used to people thinking Wolverines are deep fakes or mythological creatures. She spent more than a decade explaining to a sometimes bewildered public that Wolverines are not another name for wolves which exist or werewolves which don't. Whoa! Whoa! That's a little far, you would think, with the werewolf thing. Ish. Somebody hates mythological creatures. People just don't know what the animal is. Wolverines are, in fact, real creatures that like cold weather, build their dens in deep piles of snow. But these days, the misunderstood. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else? All right. Plan is underway to reintroduce the creature into the southern Rocky Mountains in Colorado, where wolverines once thrived and have since disappeared. They fell victim to unregulated trapping. Okay. Anything else? Okay. So Jeff Copeland, a board member of the Wolverine Foundation and longtime Wolverine researcher, says the animals prefer to build dens in several feet of snow to provide their young, known as kits, with a temperature controlled home away from predators and storms. Their sweet spot is an elevation somewhere around the tree line, not too high in the mountains away from where deer and elk die. Uh, I've never seen that before. Is this a specific area in where Colorado? The deer just perish? Okay, but not too far down to the areas where humans, coyotes, wolves, and other predators live. This is why the species only occupies the upper elevations of the western US. Yeah, that is true, but sometimes they will hunker down to, um, not hunker, but just travel down to lower elevations. But usually they're higher than even the grizzly bears in different instances. So, but that was funny with deer in a certain area, they just perish. Okay. Um, else seems to be a bit repetitive. Okay. If Colorado's Wolverine restoration moves forward, the plan calls for rehoming ideally up to 45 Wolverines, 30 females and 15 males from Canada and Alaska. Colorado's wildlife agency would collect its returning cohort from trappers who legally kill hundreds of wolverines between Canada and Alaska each year. The idea is to replicate what Colorado did with lynx, make saving wolverines more lucrative than killing them by paying trappers far more than the market value for their hide. Well, this is interesting. I mean, hopefully, if this occurs, these wolverines are going to be put through a lot of stress. But that's definitely a higher number of wolverines than I was expecting. So it's possible that could work. Okay, well, um, let's head to the next article. Though they should still continue to put in more new Wolverines because there's only so much genetic variety in that cluster of animals. So, by interestingengineering.com, in ancient rodents, more Organicu or Organconodon, is the ancestor of all mammals, including humans. Research was carried out by using 32 living species genome samples. Well, let's take a look at this. This is a bit of an older article from 2022. Of course, I had a feeling it was going to be this little guy. It's like a relative of the late Cretaceous Purgatorius. Though, okay, I might be off on that. It looks like Purgatorius existed just after the dinosaurs went extinct, so around 66 million years ago. And at the beginning of the Paleocene epoch, also when you had a wide range of different species of mammals, increase in variety as well as size, and different species of crocodilomorphs. The genome organization of the oldest mammal common ancestor has been recreated by an international research team. New study shows the reconstruction of the ancestral genome may aid in both the study of mammalian evolution and the preservation of contemporary species. The fossilized animal Morgancudon, which lived approximately 200 million years ago. Whoa, okay, that's not the Paleocene. This is actually the beginning of the Jurassic. So this is really fascinating. Eh, Ancestor, knowing that's the ancestor to people? Hmm. Let's see. Most likely resembled the earliest mammal progenitor. The results of the study have been published in PNAS on September 26th. Our results have important implications for understanding the evolution of mammals and for conservation efforts. The research was carried out by using 32 living species genome samples, including humans and chimps, wombats and rabbits, manatees, domestic cattle, rhinos, bats, and pangolins. The analysis also included the chicken and Chinese alligator genomes as comparison groups. This is quite interesting. So, using a couple of archosaurs to compare with these mammals.
Throwing a
Some
pangolin into
athletes.
that is just funny to me.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. As suggested by the University of California, Davis, some of these genomes are being generated as part of the Earth Biogenome Project and other large scale biodiversity genome sequencing initiatives. The Earth Biogenome Project Working Group is chaired by Lewin. Oh, there's the skull. That definitely looks like a typical early Jurassic skull structure for a carnivorous mammal. He's probably feeding on different species of insects and going after small amphibians and reptiles, maybe even dinosaur hatchlings, especially the smaller species of the time, which at this point you start seeing technically earlier in the late Triassic, so over 210 million years ago, you already had larger species of dinosaurs pushing 4 tons. Not common, but they did exist. And the early Jurassic, they're becoming much more abundant. According to Joanna Damas, the first author of the study and a postdoctoral researcher at the UC Davis Genome Center, the reconstruction reveals that the mammal ancestor had two sex chromosomes and 19 autosomal chromosomes, which govern the inheritance of an organism's traits aside from those controlled by sex linked chromosomes. So, more than 320 million years. In all 32 genomes, the scientists found 1,215 clusters of genes that always appear in the same order and on the same chromosome. This remarkable finding shows the evolutionary stability of the order and orientation of genes on chromosomes over an extended evolutionary time frame of more than 320 million years. Wow, that is astonishing. That's really fascinating to see. Ancestral genome reconstructions are critical to interpreting where and why selective pressures vary across genomes. This study establishes a clear relationship between chromatin architecture, gene regulation, and linkage conservation. Let's see. This provides the foundation for assessing the role of natural selection and chromosome evolution across the mammalian tree of life. The ancestral chromosomes from the common ancestor could be traced by the researchers forward in time. They discovered that there were variations in chromosomal rearrangement rates among mammal lineages. And hold on a second. Okay, let's get into this. Decrypting the rearrangements that drive mammalian chromosome evolution is critical to understanding the molecular basis of speciation, adaptation, and disease susceptibility. Using 8 scaffolded and 26 chromosome scale genome assemblies representing 23 out of 26 mammal orders. So What's referring to by order, it's basically a very large, you could say, group of mammals, but then that order is going to be divided into different large families of mammals, subfamilies of mammals, genre, and then species. You can even say subspecies. Anyway, let's keep going. We computationally reconstructed ancestral karyotypes and syntenic relationships at 16 nodes along the mammalian phylogeny. Three different reference genomes, human, sloth, and cattle, representing phylogenetically distinct mammalian superorders. That is also a thing, the taxonomic family tree, the superorder, were used to assess reference bias in the reconstructed ancestral karyotypes and to expand the number of clades with reconstructed genomes. The mammalian ancestor likely had 19 pairs of autosomes, with 19 of the smallest chromosomes shared with the common ancestor of all amniotes, three still conserved in extant mammals, demonstrating a striking conservation of centenni for 320 million years of vertebrate evolution. I mean, 320 million years ago, the mammals didn't exist. They wouldn't evolve until somewhere around 235 million years ago, along with the first dinosaurs. But at this point, you had different species of tetrapods that would eventually evolve into the different species of synapsids and mammals. Let's see. The numbers and types of chromosome rearrangements were classified for transitions between the ancestral mammalian karyotype, descendant ancestors, and extant species. For example, 94 inversions, 16 fissions, and 14 fusions that occurred over 53. My differentiated the Therian from the descendant Eutherian ancestor. So this is referring to different species of different types of mammals, Therian, Eutherian. The highest breakpoint rate was observed between the mammalian Therian ancestors, 3.9 breakpoints or million years. No, yeah. So 320 million years ago was basically the early Carboniferous period. So at least 20 million years before, 15, 20 million years before the first true synapsids. So animals like the sailback Dimetrodon, and then the see what's some others like later on the Gorgonopsians. Reconstructed mammalian ancestor chromosomes were found to have distinct evolutionary histories reflected in their rates and types of rearrangements. The distributions of genes, repetitive elements, topologically associating domains, and actively transcribed regions in multi species homologous Centenni blocks and evolutionary breakpoint regions indicate that purifying selection acted over millions of years of vertebrate evolution to maintain syntenic relationships of developmentally important genes, and regulatory landscapes of gene-dense chromosomes. Wow, I'm going to have to go over this because there's definitely a lot more that um, I think is going on here, and could probably help with figuring out other um, evolution processes with different species of or different groups of synapsids or just relatives of the mammals in general. So let's head over to the next article. So from foxweather.com, hiker hides from moose in scary encounter within Glacier National Park. So Glacier National Park, this is funny, but is located over in northwestern Montana. So towards the middle center of the Rocky Mountains. Let's see, Nolan Lutulia, Lutul, whatever, was filming
Can you
while
say that again?
yeah, Lutolila was filming while hiking in the Montana National Park on September 28th when he encountered the large bull moose. Oh, September 28th. That's the rut. Okay. Anything else? Mm, quickly hid behind a tree to let the moose pass. Yeah, I mean, moose, I mean, even during the rut, it's like compared to certain other herbivores, they can be a bit more docile. But yeah, definitely avoid them. Late September, early October, even to late October. Actually, honestly, September through October. Careful. Because that is the breeding season, but just heightens during late September and early October. In the video, Latulai attempted to control his breathing, trying to stay quiet as the moose came into view. He can hear you. The moose could be seen in the background, slowly approaching the tree with leaves.
Wait, did you say he can hear you?
Yeah, I mean, he can hear you
Couldn't he
pretty.
smell you?
Yeah, he can smell you too. It's probably tilting his head back and forth. That's how he intimidates other male moose, and the female moose are attracted to that. But they're also attracted to his scent, considering he probably made a certain um, urine wallow somewhere, and he basically all of the urine mixed with the mud as well as his own hormones. It's basically, big perfume. Um, I mean, let's see. As the moose walked past Lutilli, it stopped somewhere in front of the tree he was hiding behind. Lutilli remained still and quiet as he waited for the animal to continue walking by. I did not anticipate how scary it would be. After about 10 seconds of pausing, the moose began moving again. Lutilli trained the camera to watch the moose go on. Yeah, that's a great picture. And I can tell the moose is there, but okay. Once the moose was a safe distance away, he ended the video. He
It
wrote
took
on
me a second to figure out that was sarcasm.
Yeah, he wrote on TikTok that he was pretty sure the moose looked directly at him as it approached. Moose are commonly seen in Montana and in Glacier National Park, though not usually aggressive. Moose have been known to charge people when provoked. Yes. Yeah. Um, More of an Alaskan moose thing, but they do it further south as well. So, was there a video? Oh, no. Oh, come on. That was strange. Okay, where is he? Come on, show up. There he is. Oh, yeah, he looks really healthy. That is a great set of antlers. Think he's a somewhat, um, younger moose, and what I mean by that, he's maybe 5 to 6 years old. His antlers don't seem to have that sort of morphed type of characteristic to them, which tends to mean that it's an older moose. As the moose age, along with different species of deer, they're going to start having a more deteriorated antler appeal or appearance. So, oh, that was interesting, quite quick, but let's head over to the next article. From eastlayvoice.co.ke. Conservationists demand probe into relocation of orphan giraffes from Wahur to Nanyukai. Well, 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 what do we have here? Seems to be a couple of healthy giraffes. These are definitely not the Nubian or Rothschild's giraffes of Kenya. It seems to be another specific species. Maybe it's not hitting me. Let's see. The Northeastern Wildlife Conservancy Association has accused the Kenya Wildlife Service of illegally relocating two orphaned Somali giraffes from Wahur County to a private sanctuary in Nanyukai, describing the move as a betrayal of both the law and the people of northeastern Kenya. Um, okay, I was wrong. Apparently, I think these are Nubian giraffes because if this is concentrated over in Kenya and judging by the soil, that would make sense. Um, I was just mixing it up with the Angolan giraffe for a reason, which is located over in Namibia and Angola in southwestern Africa. And we're over in Eastern Africa or northeastern sub-Saharan Africa.
Well, we're not.
Yeah, unless you go to the zoo and then you sort of feel like you do. Anyway, NECA Chief Executive Officer Shamarke Muhammad Shiki, wow, said the giraffes whose mother was killed by poachers were rescued and cared for by local communities in Wahur only for KWS to remove them without notice or consultation. So KWS, oh, Kenya Wildlife Service. I forget. I tend to think even when it comes to like Europe, Australia, Canada, I only tend to think of different American states with something like the um, Montana Fish Parks and Wildlife or Montana Fish and Game, Texas Parks and Wildlife. I forget that countries have this type of government too. That's kind of funny. This is unacceptable. Instead of protecting these orphan giraffes within their natural home, KWS chose the easy way to take them away to a private sanctuary in Anyukai. No community consent, no due process, no law was followed. According to Nika KWS violated several key provisions of the Constitution of Kenya, the Wildlife Conservation and Management Act 2013. Wow, you guys have a Wildlife Conservation Management Act? I guess I should be surprised considering the amount of conservation that's occurred in Kenya for, geez, pushing 100 years? And its own translocation guidelines, all of which require written proposals, technical assessments, and stakeholder consultations before moving wildlife. I really only think that it's places like Europe, Australia, America, Canada, where things are this, there's so much paperwork involved. Maybe China, but it never gets resolved. Um, anyway, there was no proposal, no consultation, no technical approval, and no emergency. Wait a second. Like, oh, they just came in and took them. We know what happened? I think they sent them to that sanctuary. Anyway, I'll,
Giraffe steaks.
or that. I mean, there was an incident where a giraffe, I think at the Danish zoo, maybe it's the one over in Copenhagen. Okay, Copenhagen, um, ended up dying. Or no, no, no. What happened was I think they had a brother and a sister together, but the female was going into heat, and they didn't want inbreeding occurring. So, also they were calling zoos all over Europe. Nobody wanted the giraffe. I think even certain sanctuaries. So they ended up having to put it down. There was outrage about it, and they're literally just chopping it up for the lions. I'm like, what? What's wrong with that? Like, uh, anyway, um, I just thought I'd bring that up. These giraffes were safe and stable under community care. What justification could they possibly be for removing them? Sharmark accused KWS of undermining years of community led conservation in the northeastern region, saying the action erodes trust and disregards the sacrifices made by residents who have long protected endangered species under harsh conditions. Hmm. It sends the wrong message that wildlife from our region can simply be removed and displayed elsewhere while we continue to face poaching, weak ranger presence, and delayed compensation for human wildlife conflicts. Conservation must respect ecology, natural range, and community rights. Removing these giraffes violates all three. He further noted that northeastern Kenya already has suitable sanctuaries, including the Garissa Giraffe Sanctuary and the Wahir Giraffe Sanctuary, both community run and equipped to host the giraffes. Why were they taken to Nanyukai? Who made that decision? Which community was consulted? Wow. Our people have invested in sanctuaries, yet our wildlife is taken elsewhere. That's not conservation, that's marginalization. And Nika is now demanding the immediate return of the two Somali giraffes to their natural range in Wahir or Garissa counties. So, do we know where they took them? I don't remember exactly. Okay, well,
Has it even said?
I might have said something further up, like at the very beginning. Okay, they took it to a private sanctuary in Nanyukai. Hmm. Okay. Well, odd. Let's see. Is there anything else? No, I think it's just repetitive. Okay. Hopefully the Somali giraffes make it. I don't know what else to say. So let's head over to the next article. From Fox 32 Chicago. Black bear spotted multiple times in downstate Illinois. So, a black bear was seen in St. Clair County on Monday. A wildlife biologist confirmed the sighting on Tuesday. The bear was seen again on Wednesday and Thursday, still in St. Clair County. Experts recommend avoiding direct contact with bears and removing all potential food sources. Let's see. So spotted several times in southwestern Illinois. This is good to hear considering black bears are very rare within the state of Illinois and as well as the neighboring state of Iowa, Indiana. They're much more common as you head north to Wisconsin, which hosts somewhere between 15 to 18,000 black bears.
I didn't realize when I picked this that it was that old of an article.
Hmm, how long ago was this? Well, last year.
Oh, no, I read 2024 on.
Oh. So let's see. Bears not interacted with humans, but damaged beehives on private property. I think that counts, but Yeah, I guess that's expected. I mean, it's interesting. He's in Southern Illinois, so I really wonder where this bear came from. Did he come from one of the populations over in Wisconsin or Minnesota? And he just decided to make his way down? Was he from the population over in Michigan, and he just decided to wander through Indiana and then up to Illinois? So that's a big question. Let's see. I think Michigan, looking at the main part of the state, not including the Upper Peninsula, has somewhere between 8 to 11,000 black bears. So let's see. Oh, is that it? Is there like a
I have more articles in the queue.
okay? Let's head over to the next article. Okay, so from notes from Poland.com, Polish National Park closes
Okay,
trails to
I
protect.
definitely picked an old article here.
Yeah, but it's definitely unique. Polish National Park closes trails to protect bear cubs sighted on ski slope. Oh wow, there he is. Well, that's really nice of them. Said, "Listen, we don't want you hitting this guy."
He looks like a cartoon character.
Yeah, he does. Wonder where the mother is or his sibling. That must have just, like, immediately come out of, hibernation. Let's see, the Tatra National Park. Oh, this is the one. It's over in southern Poland as well as part of northern, I think, northeastern Slovakia. This has brown bears and certain wolves in the region, wild boar population. The Tatra National Park in Poland's mountainous south is monitoring a brown bear cub sighted several times in recent days on and around a popular skiing resort. Officials say it needs to find its mother and have closed trails in the area to protect the bears and humans. Yeah, the Tatra National Park is part of the High Tatras Mountains of the region. So there are also lynx that are coming back. They're recovering in numbers. You also have quite a bit of red deer within Poland as well. They're not actually, that's not true. They're not very common. There might only be somewhere around 4 to 5,000 of them. So they became quite low in number during the 1970s, 1980s. Bear family is sensed spring, an endearing sight. But let's remember that the mother might be nearby. Encounters between humans and she bears with their young can be dangerous for both sides. There are only around 110 brown bears in Poland. Well, I mean, it is a big guess as to how many there are within, especially southern Poland. This was only from what 2 or 3 years ago. Most of them living in the Beskidzee Mountains, according to WWF figures or Wildlife Fund. There are 50 or 60 in the Tetra Mountains as a whole. There's got to be more than that. Most live on the Slovakian side of the border. That is very true. On Saturday, the TPN closed 3 hiking and skiing trails to give some peace and quiet to the family of bears, with staff patrolling the entrance to the paths to make sure nobody enters. We decided to close the trail because there are bear dens there. We're counting on the cub meeting its mother. There are also adult bear tracks there. One female bear in the area is wearing a telemetric collar showing that she has not emerged from her den. But the TPN officials do not know whether the cub, which is only a few weeks old, is hers. It might have fallen out of the den if it is on a steep slope. I've explained has happened a few years ago. On that occasion, there was no happy ending for the cub, which was eaten by another adult bear. Wow, what a transition. Yeah, he stumbled out of the den and then he just became well, sandwich for another bear. Perhaps that allowed her cubs to survive. Jeez. Well, I mean, it's true, but sad. Yeah, quite sad. Such situations are commonplace in nature and must be allowed to take their course without human intervention. Wow, Poland, so honest. Last week, however, a bear on the Slovakian side of the Tatras was shot dead by officials who said that due to the irresponsible behavior of tourists, it has stopped showing signs of shyness and began to endanger the safety of visitors to the national park. I think I know now. This is a better explanation as to why there are Poland police or bear police in the area. Um, could just arm everybody.
Wait, to arrest the bears?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Especially since one's a cannibal. I mean, even though it's natural for them, I don't know. This is quite a it's quite a gruesome article, but entertaining. Closure of trails in the TPN is not uncommon at this time of year. Last week, the park shared a video showing bear cubs frolicking, explaining that mothers give birth to 1 to 3 cubs every 2 years, which remain in their care until autumn the following year. Yeah, it's true. After emerging, like they're born in the winter, and then by October, November of the second year, they're gone. Usually, sometimes, especially females, they might come back or stay a little longer. After emerging from hibernation, um, okay, let's keep going down. Oh, that's it. So let's see. They want to check this out, despite it being a few years old, or just keep. Oh, some footage. I think it's a couple of bears on the mountain. So yeah, that seems to be a female brown bear. She obviously just got out of hibernation. She's pretty thin, but her cub, I'm guessing that's a yearling. That looks far too large to be a newborn cub, but it looks pretty healthy as well. Probably not a whole lot of vegetation to eat at the moment, and they're going to be quite lethargic. And this will occur for over 6 to 8 weeks when it comes to bears.
Are they playing king of the mountain?
It seems that way. Yeah, they're just taking their time. Oh, right. Should we check this out?
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, hopefully he finds his or he found his mother.
It doesn't look real.
Yeah, he's definitely excited to be out. Oh, yeah, there's a skier. Funny. Okay, well, let's head over to the next article. From space.com, satellites are helping protect critically endangered desert elephants. Here's how. Namibian desert elephants fear humans, but drought forces them to seek water near settlements. I would have thought that maybe there are certain artificial water containments that are situated within certain national parks, even in Namibia, like even the Etosha National Park. Though there have been some instances suggesting that that could be having a big problem with their migration routes and just causing them to not have to take the migration routes because why would you if there's water available here? And just enough food to get by. And this seems to be taking place in Etosha National Park. So this is situated over in northeastern Namibia. So it's one of the more areas with abundant vegetation, at least for part of the year. Drought is forcing Namibian desert elephants to seek water near human settlements. Both human encounters with the giant mammals frequently end in tragedies. Elephants are being shot and their population is shrinking. A conservation project using a combination of GPS data and high resolution satellite images is trying to help the two species coexist in peace. Without it, the rare desert elephant population might soon go extinct. They've been increasing in population slightly over the past, well, few decades. So let's see, it says about 24,000 elephants live in Namibia. That that number hasn't changed for a number of years now. Um, so I really do wonder how many elephants are in Namibia. There's also different subspecies of elephants in Namibia as well. So we're going to see a lot of genetics. A Southwest African country known for its desert landscapes and wildlife parks. Most of them dwell in the lush greenery of Etosha National Park in the north of the country and near the border with Botswana in the northeast. They do range over other vast areas outside of Etosha National Park. They tend to stick to green corridors, or at least areas where there's water adjacent to vegetation, so riparian areas. But over the centuries, smaller groups of elephants have ventured into and learned to survive in the more arid plains in the western Kunini region. These elephants fascinate zoologists for their ability to handle the harsh weather conditions in the area, including strong ice cold winds and alternating droughts and heavy rains. The elephants also in the Namibian desert. This is actually, as you can see, it's quite lush. I'm referring to certain populations or herds at certain points of the year that will visit, like, the sand dunes of the Namib Desert. You might confuse it with the Sahara, but it's a different ecosystem, and it's not connected. Um, let's see, what is it? Oh, this population of elephants, it's much more lean and not as just heavily built compared to the elephant populations over in different parts of Botswana, South Africa, even Tanzania, and it's simply due to the very arid climate that they exist in. But there's still enough food for them to get by. Now, let's see. Somehow these elephants know when the winds are coming before they come. Let's see. Uh, Christian Winter, a conservation program manager at Namibia's Elephant Human Relations Aid charity. That sounds nice. They know where to hide from it. They know where water will pool when it rains because they remember it from previous seasons. But the extreme conditions are also forcing these elephants to approach human settlements. When droughts hits, elephants have no choice but to share water resources with humans, despite knowing all too well that people equal mortal danger. I think what's funny is that, it's mentioning the droughts and these animals live in the desert, but also partially lush landscape as well. Let's see. Anything else? Oh, uh, local farmers frequently resort to defending their property with brute force. Elephants get shot at, wandering off wounded and dying in the fields. From a population that once counted around 3,000, only 150 animals remain in the region today. Oh, I've heard of this population. I think it's a bit more now, but gosh, where is it? It's not hitting me where specifically in Namibia this is occurring, but yeah, they had a massive decrease in population, and they're only in the few hundreds. Over half of the local population, desert elephants, was lost within a few years. It has stabilized a bit. Well, not too much. You have to remember it takes 22 to 24 months for a female to give birth to a calf. Then it has to raise it for 13 to 14 years. Let's see. Uh, okay, but there are also other environmental pressures that prevent calves from surviving. We have a very low number of adult elephants and very few teenagers, which is obviously not great. In a bid to help locals coexist with magnificent species without either side suffering harm, researchers fitted three elephants in the most affected group with GPS collars in 2021 to track their movements. Whenever an elephant approaches a village or farm, the Earth Ranger, oh yeah, I've heard of this specific, um, not app, but some type of system generates an alert that gets shared with the community in real time. So let's see, is there anything else? Oh, since the rollout of the geofencing system, the number of incidents involving humans decreased. Well, that's really good to hear. To make things even better, the researchers are trying to combine the GPS tracking data with high resolution images from Airbus Yates Neo satellites to understand why and when the elephants visit villages and farms. They collected data during the droughts and the subsequent rainy season to understand how the elephants' movement patterns change throughout the year. So this seems to be one of the rivers that they're following. It's probably dry at this point. Okay, we don't know where exactly this is occurring. The elephants will choose a place even within a risky environment where they feel the safest and where there's vegetation and water. When there is enough water and food, that for them outmatches the risk of dying from shooting, which surprised us. They are willing to risk the consequences. Known for their impeccable memory, the elephants remember the tragedies that people inflicted on their families. They only approach villages at night and move almost like ghosts, running away at the first hint of human presence. I'm guessing that this is occurring with this specific population of elephants in Namibia. It varies depending on the herd. There are certain herds in different parts of Kenya that can be quite aggressive. So let's see. The researchers hope the satellite data may help design new strategies to make human elephant coexistence easier. We're trying to protect the natural water points and place troughs and dams strategically so that the elephants don't need to go through the villages at night. Oh, that's interesting. So they're adding troughs here. These satellite images help identify elephant hotspots, which then enables the researchers to negotiate with farmers. The big aim is to identify corridors and find ways to protect that habitat for the elephants. We had one farmer who saw the data and realized that one corner of his farm was almost owned by the elephants. And he allowed us to have that corner in exchange for protecting the rest of his farm with compromises. like that, we can reduce the conflict and give the elephants a safe spot to be. Yeah, that's funny. Well, that's good to hear that they're putting out more water troughs for them, which I think in this case, if it has a bit of an effect on their migration, but they're getting the water that they need, and probably in the same case, the food, you have to increase that population of elephants. Um, so honestly, I think that's a good thing. Were there any more that oh, okay, so what do we have here? So from ksdk.com. Um, okay, here we go. So mountain lion caught on video in rare Missouri sighting. There were some deer not too far away. I kept wondering if he was going to make a stop. He looks so relaxed. Is it where? Oh, okay. Let's take a look. Also Missouri does not have an established breeding population of cougars in the area. They have been spotted a lot more often in recent years. Oh, is that a drone? It's just a deer and that's down. Yeah, that is a well-fed cougar,
There's his food.
well-fed deer too. Yeah, if that's a male. Oh yeah, there they are. He's just creeping along. Oh, they sense it. That is sad. That's really neat to watch though. Oh,
He's just walking.
yeah, that seems like a bit of a lazy hunt. Where he saw them and he just thought, let's see how oh, okay, so yeah, it was a drone. That was pretty good though. While flying his drone on private property, Jack Huston, owner of Midwest Deer Surveys. Oh, he was taking a deer survey and then he happened to come upon that. That's going to spark some activity. Noticed something unusual lurking in the brush. I came across what I thought was a deer. It wasn't until he switched his camera view that he realized what he was looking at. The mountain lion, not something you expect to see in central Missouri. Oh, I was thinking it was southern Missouri, which is even rarer to see a mountain lion, but it's probably one of the ones coming in from Colorado and then Kansas and eventually making it into the state of Missouri. It's good to see. Hasta admits it was a little spooky catching the apex predator on camera. My heart rate got up there. I'm flying the drone a quarter mile away, but I'm kind of shaking, looking outside the truck, wondering if he's going to come up here. There were some deer not too far away, and I kept wondering if he was going to make a stop. Let's see. For 50 minutes, Houston watched. It was Huston watched as the mountain lion slowly crept toward a number of deer. I was thinking one of those deer was going to have a bad day. The cat probably wasn't that hungry or didn't have that much energy to go after one. Or he was just daring the deer, just seeing how much of a lazy approach can I make before they just start running. Let's see. Uh, According to the Missouri Department of Conservation, there's no breeding population of mountain lions in Missouri. Let's see. So many people reached out with trail camera photos and saying they've seen one. I think there are probably more around than you think. Yeah, I think something like a black bear is more likely to make its presence in a wide variety of properties, but a cougar, I mean, certainly possible, but they're a lot more sedentary than bears, depending on the black bear population. Especially if it's a black bear that doesn't have a lot of access to garbage and even certain crop fields. He needs to wander a lot more to find the insects, depending on the time of year that he needs to store up on fat. So let's see. So he's getting a lot of calories, especially from ants.
Wait,
Not
so in Florida, do they have to wander around?
oh, yeah. I mean, there's quite a few forest areas within Florida that are not necessarily the healthiest, and the problem is that you also have it when it comes to finding different species of native ants, it's going to come across the Argentinian fire ant, and most animals don't eat Argentinian fire ants. That's why they can just spread and, take over other or wipe out other invasive or other native species. So, yes, they come from Argentina. They started just wreaking havoc in 1930s. That's why Hudson turned the video over to conservation officers who are currently working to verify what's believed to be the 121st sighting in Missouri since 1994. Well, that's definitely a lot higher than what we were hearing from Illinois. So this is really good to hear. Trying to think, right above Missouri, definitely not too far away from. I never thought it would happen, but it finally did. I fly a lot of ground all over the country. We'll see if another one pops up over the next couple of years. Months? Yeah, that's quite a wide timeline gap. Missouri Department of Conservation is encouraging anyone who believes they've seen a mountain lion to file a report online so that the large carnivore response team can investigate. It's just funny with all these different numbat numbat task force. But let's see, were there any others? It's a couple seconds. I think did we not do this? Hmm, never mind. Okay, so from the nilepost.ug, CTC Conservation Center brings African wild dogs back to Uganda after 6 decades. Wow. So, um, gosh, it's hard to believe it's been somewhere between 60 to 70 years since African painted dogs have been in Uganda. So, Uganda is west of the countries of Kenya and Tanzania, Ethiopia, and just east of the Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo. For the first time in over 60 years, African wild dogs are returning to Uganda thanks to a private conservation initiative by the CTC Conservation Center Mbigi District. African wild dogs, once native to Uganda, were declared nationally extinct around the 1960s. Now, under the leadership of Ugandan conservationist Thomas Price, founder of the CTC Conservation Center, 8 of these rare endangered animals will soon call Uganda home again. The latest group of 6 wild dogs arrived on Monday evening, June 23rd, 2025, at Entebbe International Airport from a conservation facility in South Africa. They will join 2 others already being cared for at CTC, bring the total population to 8. Say where they came from? Oh, okay, so it came from a conservation facility in South Africa. Yeah, I was wondering because there's not many African panda dogs in the wild, somewhere between 6 to 7,000, around the same as the cheetah population. And that number hasn't changed very much in the last few years, but it also could be simply due to that small population. And they're constantly under threat of more of other predators within the region. So, especially lions, hyenas going after their pups, pythons, puff outers. So that's a venomous snake from sub-Saharan Africa. Even possibly vultures. They will occasionally prey on young lion cubs, pups, um, hyena cubs. So let's see. This is a 100% Ugandan-led initiative aimed at establishing a captive managed breeding population. The conservationists say the long-term goal is to support future reintroduction to suitable wild habitats across the country. I believe this marks a vital first step in empowering a homegrown Ugandan initiative to address our conservation challenges. The African painted dogs, they can be somewhere around 75 pounds or a little over, um, what, 35 kilograms. It is my sincere hope that with the involvement of additional national stakeholders, this will be just the beginning of a broader movement to restore Uganda's lost wildlife diversity for the enduring benefit of our nation and the generations of proud Ugandans yet to come. Yeah, yeah, it does make you proud, even as an American. Mhm. Anyway, founded in 2015, CTC Conservation Center is a fully licensed wildlife breeding and education facility, working closely with the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, and the Uganda Wildlife Authority. This conservation breakthrough comes at a time when neighboring Rwanda, I think it's just south of Uganda or east, I forget. has been aggressively expanding its wildlife offering to attract ecotourists, especially for chimpanzees in the region. And there are certain areas, but this is over in Western Africa that I'm referring to, where chimpanzees and African painted dogs do come into contact with each other. But it's a much more it's a less tropical and jungly sort of ecosystem. Okay, yeah, that's not a word.
You just say jungly?
Yeah, I thought it had the Y or EY. It's what I'm referring to, I believe, is over in Senegal where it's occurring, but that's on the complete opposite side of the continent. Let's see. In 2015, lions were reintroduced to Akagera National Park from South Africa after being wiped out in the 1990s. That was followed by the reintroduction of 18 eastern black rhinos in 2017 and 5 more in 2019, sourced from European zoos. Interesting. I actually didn't hear about that incident, or both, three, I guess three incidents. Most notably in November 2021, Rwanda received 30 southern white rhinos from Pinda Game Reserve in South Africa. I also believe there was that relocation of rhinos this year over to Rwanda and part of Kenya. So they've definitely been receiving a
You
lot of
mean
rhinos
last year?
in recent years. Oh, right. 2025. Think about 70 coming in from South Africa. In June 2025, here we go. Rwanda received another batch of 70 white rhinos in the largest rhino rewilding effort on the continent, part of African Park's long term plan to move 2,000 rhinos to safe, well managed landscapes. Yeah, there was also that thing about moving most of them to Texas, or at least a portion. Um, okay, so they all 70 went to Rwanda. I thought they went to Kenya as well. These deliberate efforts to restore megafauna have positioned Rwanda's Big Six, operating as a powerful draw for tourists seeking rare and iconic wildlife experiences in the region. Usually it's the big five. I wonder what the big six is, or that sixth individual. And Uganda's conscious effort to boost the game is testament to the immense potential of tourism, regularly among the top three highest forex exchange earners in the country. Oh, oh, here's the relocation of the African painted dogs. Did they come in from Qatar at one point? That's funny. That's a
I didn't
long.
see that until after you said it.
Oh, wait a second. No, it's just at the airport, so maybe somebody flew in from Qatar, or they have a Qatar airline, but they're coming in from South Africa, so that wouldn't make any sense. But there are weird flight routes, so who knows?
Maybe somebody at Qatar paid for the flight.
Oh, that's always a good point. Um, I do wonder. Wow. Wild dogs, let's see. Anything else? Oh, is the African painted dog now this big 6th? Okay. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, the leopard's part of the big 5, which is quite surprising. But, I mean, leopards are nice. Any others? Okay, so we'll about to continue on our 5th article. Oh, well, what do we have here?
Did you say 5th article?
Oh, I meant to say final. Um, okay, from lemonde.fr. At least 22 bear cubs were born in the Pyrenees last year, a record threatened by low genetic diversity. So I'm guessing it's saying 2025. This occurred in 2024, which is still really good to hear. The bear population in the mountain range, which numbers at least 96 individuals, is steadily increasing. This does not seem to impact the number of attacks on sheep and cattle herds.
What
Um,
kind of bear is it?
no, oh yeah. So we're talking about likely southern France or northern Spain, where the Pyrenees mountain range is, and it's had a yeah, quite, was it not, terms not solitary, but just cut off population for many years of brown bears from other brown bear populations. It's a big problem in.
Okay, so it's a brown bear.
Yes. So these individuals in the region probably usually not weighing much more than 450 pounds, or a little over 200, 250 kilograms.
Are black bears everywhere or only here?
American black bears are only concentrated within Canada and the United States, as well as Alaska and northern Mexico. Then you have Asiatic black bears, you find certain parts of southern Russia and even different parts of China and Southeast Asia. Okay, so let's see. Well, these look like a couple of healthy individuals. That's really good to see. Wait a second. Hmm, That's funny. The bear populations continue to grow steadily in the French and Spanish Pyrenees, as it has every year since 1996, when reintroduction measures first began. In 2024, at least 96 bears were detected across the entire region or range, an increase of 11% compared to 2023. Wow, that's really good to hear. It's unfortunate for the low genetic variety, kind of like with the ones over in Italy, Spain, and Norway and Sweden. So, I think Greece, the bears in the area have a bit more genetic variety, but I'd have to double check on that. Let's see. Now it's the French Office of Biodiversity and its annual report published Thursday on April 3rd, guessing 2025. Of these 96 individuals, 46% have only been detected in France. Well, okay, this mountain range, so the French, Spanish, and Andorra, basically Greater Spain, it's all connected to each other. So, um, every one of these individuals can come into contact. Though,
Wait, are you saying so as the bears travel, they just go from one country to the next?
yeah, I mean, basically, the Pyrenees Mountains is split into, not including Andorra, Spain, and France. Let's see, it's 26% in Spain or Andorra and 28% on both sides of the border. Wait a second. I think Andorra is a big part of the Pyrenees. Anyway, let's keep going. Since not all animals were systematically detected through hair and feces samples, footprints, or photo and video captures, and accounting for those that have died, the population is estimated at 104 individuals, with a credibility interval between 97 and 123 individuals. Network members collected 2,022 bear signs on the French side and 1,571 on the Spanish and Andorran sides, over a total area of 7,200 square kilometers. Guessing that's what, at least 3,000 square miles? Um, so what, about size of Yellowstone National Park? So not a huge area, but it's not exactly tiny. This is it's really good to see. I was trying to think. I'm guessing that the other population of brown bear is closely connected, at least over in Spain, to this population. Specifically, it appears that at least 13 females gave birth in 2024, resulting in a minimum of 22 cubs, a record since data collection began in 2006. However, low genetic diversity could potentially alter this dynamic in future years. Oh, well, that's the end of it. Well, besides that, it's good to hear that there's an increase in the bear cub um, births occurring within this part of Europe, as well as the brown bear population as a whole. Um, so let's see, was there anything else? It was especially surprising with that elephant article over in Namibia, and then that giraffe incident. Apparently, they're pretty angry about whoever moved these two giraffes and sent them to some private sanctuary in northeastern Kenya. What was that other thing? Oh yeah, the blocking off the couple of ski slopes so the bear cub could find its mother, and then the bear police over in southern Poland. So that was pretty funny. It's good to also see that cougar over and making its home over in central Missouri. It has access to food in the region. I mean, outside of probably not having any mates, but they keep moving east, so it's very possible some might show up. He's definitely going to stay there for a while. I mean, it would just be dumb to move considering the amount of plentiful deer in the region. The problem is, the deer are going to learn about his presence, and obviously those two individuals already know. But from his expertise, I would assume from hunting mule deer or other white-tailed deer populations further west, if he came from a western state or a Midwest state. Okay, Missouri is the Midwest. I was referring to Kansas. It shouldn't affect him too much. He'll just come up with, different hunting strategies. He should be okay. Hopefully, he has cubs. So, hope you enjoyed this Friday night live stream, and from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals all the time.